I've decided to divide my speech up into four areas, so that I analyse leadership four different ways. These are leadership of the self, leadership of others, mountains that we're going to climb, and values or norms that drive you to climb these mountains. So leadership of the self. I'm turning 23 soon, and I'm entering my quarter-life crisis, so I'm having a serious reassessment of what I want to be doing with my time here on Earth. Doing this course has provided me with many self-indulgent yet well-structured frameworks to do this self-reflection in a pseudo-academic way. For example, the seminars from Jeff Mortimer and Robert Stiles. So with what results? Firstly, I've decided I'd like to be an interdisciplinary self. The interdisciplinary nature of this course has inspired me to learn. Even though I've had this inspiration for most of my life, this course has reinforced it. Secondly, my second self-leadership reflection is a descent into unashamedly outward displays of inherent absurd, obscure and ironic personality traits. This lends its hand to better critical analysis of the world around me and general development of heretical behaviours which society is in continuous need of. Thirdly, I've overcome my intense, long-standing aversion to institutions and got involved for the first time in my life with extracurricular activities. And finally, my action learning cycle goal was to speak in front of groups in a calm and well thought out manner. I think I've got that. So the point of all this is that I've come to conclude, along with the wonderful woman that is Kerry Arabina, that what good is a sword if not forged in a fire? Leadership happens in the context of our life. Indeed, I'd also argue that it shapes both how, what and why you lead. So onto leadership of others. I was really influenced and inspired by Kai's wiki, and also along with my studies, which is just touching on systems thinking at the moment. And I've come to conclude that leadership is about networks. So as we've explored explicitly in the Environmental Leadership Week and inexplicitly throughout the whole course, we live in a complex, interconnected system, both social and ecological. So to lead in ways that recognise such complexity, we need to give voice to paradox, contradiction and different viewpoints. These must be considered natural and healthy in our systems and in our institutions. Indeed, it is through recognising such change and dissonance that discovery and innovation takes place. So how do you do this? How do you lead with networks? Indigenous leadership gave us the analogy of the geese and the buffalo. If you watch the buffalo, one will go over the cliff and they will all follow. Geese are different. Everyone takes a turn at leading the formation. So building on the theme of birds, I think Aredi's analogy from week 2 can be used nicely to expand this, that leadership is fundamentally about providing feathers for other people. It's about capacity building. So on to mountains to climb. With my quarter life crisis and the odd existential crisis, it tends to lead to the odd but intense disillusionment about what I can possibly do in this crazy world and how I could create any positive change at all. Wikipedia says that this existential crisis is a development stage in life, and then goes on to provide a cyber page on handling existential crises. To handle mine, I've decided to channel such emotions into focusing on concrete goals that I can work towards. Kerry called this horizon scanning. We can't climb all the mountains out there because there's a whole lot, but we can climb a few. And actually, Wikipedia had a little definition for what this is called in terms of handling your existential crisis, and it's called anchoring, which they state is that anchoring mechanism provides individuals with values or an ideal that allows them to focus their attention in a consistent manner. So bring on the mountains. And finally, onto values. I'm not going to delve into this very deeply, except to say that whilst we've splashed around words of integrity, honesty, truth and virtue as great leadership characteristics, I'm going to propose that none of us can really know what these are unless we start to lead ourselves. and understand truly what our personal values and norms are. If we don't have these, we cannot possibly have integrity or honesty, nor have our own relative truths. So to conclude, we're back at the start of the cycle. Bring on the crisis, bring on the self-leadership. To lead yourself, to lead others, to climb your mountains, and to find and adapt your norms and values.